Well, today we take a look at praise addiction when it comes to your children, and we have creative parenting expert Nikki Bush with us in studio this morning. Well, good morning, Nikki, and welcome to the show. Now, what happens when you confuse praise and encouragement?
Essentially, your children start looking for praise around every single corner, and that's not great because what they're doing is they're looking for external validation all the time. And one of the traps we've fallen into as 21st century parents is trying to make our kids feel good about themselves all the time. So we find every reason to tell them they're a star and they're wonderful and they're so clever and they're so pretty and they're all these things, but we've actually fallen short of learning how to encourage our children.
Now, can children get addicted to praise?
Definitely. And you can see children on a sports field, for example, going to kick a ball or hit a ball or catch a ball, and they immediately look to the parent to see if the parent saw it and what the expression on the parent's face was.
Now, if one were to look at sort of positive feedback, how would you balance that?
Well, life is a process. It's not always about a destination. And so we have to encourage our children's process of getting to the destination. If they're small and they're learning how to colour in, you can talk, or they're painting a picture, you can say, gosh, I love the colour you've chosen for your picture, or look at how neatly you're colouring in between the lines, or you're making such a wonderful effort, well done. So we talk about effort, we talk about process, as opposed to talking about, gee, I love the butterfly you're drawing. Meanwhile, it might be an aeroplane. So we must just be aware of things like that. And then with children who are in primary school and making teams and scoring on tests and things like that, once again, to encourage perseverance, not necessarily the fact that they got an A. I mean, great if they did, but what if they're getting a D? You're not necessarily going to celebrate the D, but you might celebrate the D because it's not an E. Because last month it was an E and now it's a D. So I just am so impressed at the way you've really persevered and you've tried and look how much better you're doing.
I quite like that.
And then you have children whose parents are living vicariously through them, and they're on the sports field and maybe they're not so good at sport, and their parents are telling them how brilliant they are, and then when the child only makes the C team and the child's disappointed, we wonder why, because there's an unrealistic expectation that's been built up by the parent.
So would you say honesty is the best policy when it comes to your children and giving them that sort of praise?
You've got to be careful. You can't say you're no good at sport. That's why you're talking about the encouragement rather than the well done for making the A team. And every child will shine at a different time.
True.
It just might not be your week or your year right this moment.
Now, taking a look at self-image and self-esteem in children.
We feed into that all the time, Kia, really by the words that we use. And so we need to be careful, particularly with our little girls. It's so easy to look at a little girl as she comes out and you say, oh, what a beautiful dress, or I love your hair, or you're so pretty. And what we're doing is validating what she looks like and not who she is. So we must ensure that we're feeding into the who, not the what. Not what I do, not what you see, but who I am.
The who. So Nikki, tell us more about the words that one should use.
Kiera, I think it's much easier to come up with words about praise than it is to find the words to encourage our children. But I really think it's worth the effort.
So true. Nikki, thank you so much for joining us in studio this morning. Well, stay tuned. We have lots more coming up in the show.
Stay with eXpresso and SABC3.